Virginia's Supreme Court unanimously approved the state's new voting map last week. It shifts the lines of many congressional, state Senate, and House of Delegates districts for at least the next 10 years. Unlike redistricting in several other states over the last year, voting rights groups like the Princeton Gerrymandering Project have given their blessing to the new maps. Two experts chosen by Virginia's Supreme Court actually drew the maps. The changes are expected to shake up the 2022 midterm elections, with some incumbents now forced to face off against each other. For more on this, I want to bring in Ben Paviour. He is a state politics reporter at VPM, which is Virginia's public broadcasting organization. Ben, thank you so much for joining us. And, you know, compared to so many other states, Virginia's new maps are actually being hailed as a major improvement over previous attempts at redistricting. So why is that? What did your state do differently?
I should say, to begin with, that not everybody agrees with that assessment. Plenty of Democrats are upset that the redistricting process wasn't as smooth as it could have been and that the maps aren't more favorable to them, frankly. Virginia passed a constitutional amendment creating a redistricting commission. And so that's how this all got started, is that this commission was supposed to draw the maps. It was half lawmakers, half citizens, split evenly between two parties. The commission couldn't come to any agreement, so it actually got kicked up to the Virginia Supreme Court, which hired two experts, again, one nominated from each party. They came up with these maps. And as you said, I think some experts are saying they're quite fair. Again, it depends on who you ask.
Right. And isn't that sort of a hallmark of a process that works out when both sides are unhappy with the final product? I mean, you know, Virginia tried to create this bipartisan commission, but at the end of the day, the commission ended up being deadlocked. They couldn't even come to a decision. This got kicked up to the experts. So what are the lessons here for other states who might be considering a similar process next time around?
I think the biggest takeaway that you're hearing compared to other states that have commissions is not to include lawmakers on it. And that's a function of how Virginia's process works for constitutional amendments. Lawmakers weren't going to write themselves out of the picture. And in other states, citizens can bypass that by holding a referendum, for instance. But in Virginia, that's not on the table. So lawmakers were always involved. And I think for many people, that kind of poisoned the process. There was a lot of distrust. Other states that didn't do that seem to have a smoother result. And I think that's really the fundamental problem that the commission ran into.
Right. Hard to take politics out of the process when lawmakers who depend on the results are involved. So, you know, you mentioned that Democrats in particular are pretty upset about the outcome. What are the major implications for both parties when you look at these new maps? Right now, for example, Democrats have, I think it's a 7-4 advantage when it comes to House seats in Virginia. Is that likely to change?
It very well could. If you look at the way the maps are laid out, I think Democrats have a solid advantage in about 6 of the seats and possibly could pick up a 7th in a good year. And it could possibly dwindle to 5 in a bad year. So it's not the worst map that could have been drawn for them, but certainly if they had drawn this map themselves, I think we would have seen stronger margins, maybe even an 8-3 advantage. And so I think, you know, there's people who say this was self-sabotage on their part. On the other hand, you know, in a good year, and this was 2020 was a good year for them, they would have 7 seats. So it's not the worst outcome for them, but not the best either.
You know, these new maps also mean that you're going to have some incumbents facing off against each other, right? Can you give us some notable examples? Absolutely.
I think that's especially true in the state house races. The experts that were hired by the court ignored where incumbents live. And this is a really drastic departure from tradition where, you know, these maps are often drawn to protect incumbents. So I think in many cases, I mean, I don't know how many off the top of my head, but I would say at least 10, 20 cases, maybe more. Lawmakers are paired up with people from other parties or their own parties. There's cases where 3 are in the same district. It's going to be a very messy, chaotic primary process. People have to decide whether to move, to stay. On the congressional level, everyone's watching Congresswoman Abigail Spanberger, whose district migrated north. She lives further south in the Richmond suburbs. She said she's going to run in her 7th district, in the same district she represents now. It's not clear yet whether she'll move. She'll definitely face primary challengers regardless of what she decides to do there.
Right, and this obviously creates some major headaches for congressional leadership as well when they've got two incumbents facing off against one another. One of the big challenges with redistricting in other states, even in states where the redistricting process is viewed as more fair, is that they're facing lawsuits over the outcome. North Carolina, Michigan, Texas are already seeing those suits. Are you expecting to see similar challenges in Virginia?
I know that the Virginia NAACP is considering whether to file a suit. I think more imminently, people are watching a lawsuit that's making its way through the court system on whether Virginia's House of Delegates, its lower chamber, needs to run again next year, because Virginia just had elections in November, and those elections happened on the old lines. And that wouldn't have happened that way, but the census delays caused this cascading series of delays in redistricting. And so now they're representing districts that are out of date, the argument goes. And so there's a question of whether they'll have to run again next year and then again in 2023 on the regular cycle. So we could have 3 in a row elections for Virginia's House of Delegates. And I'm sure there'll be lawsuits, other lawsuits related to these maps too.
Wow, so complicated. Ben, before we let you go, I want to ask you about something else you've been reporting on, this plan to transfer Confederate statues. It's been such a controversial issue. Now moving those statues to a Black History Museum and Cultural Center of Virginia. Where did that idea come from, and do you think it's likely to happen in the end?
I do think it's likely to happen. It seems like an idea that was hatched by Governor Ralph Northam in his final days in office. There's a Democratic mayor in Richmond, LeVar Stoney, and they seem to have come to an agreement that the state would transfer the statue of Robert E. Lee over to the city to decide what to do with it. The city is going to transfer them in turn to the museums. The museums are going to solicit public input for 2 years. So nothing imminently is going to really happen with these statues. I don't think the museum is going to put them on display immediately. And the city council in Richmond still has to approve that transfer. But that looks like the way things are headed, and we'll see what actually happens with the statues themselves.
Interesting next step in this fascinating debate over what should be done with these statues. Ben Paviour, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.